Hey, how y'all doing? Welcome back. Well, it feels like it's been like 2 weeks, like literally. I don't know
No,
what's
just one, just last week.
yeah, it feels like it's been 2 weeks. So welcome back to our channel. Remember to go to our YouTube page, like, share, and subscribe. Look at all our videos, like our videos, make comments. We're on Facebook too. Shout out us on Facebook. So we are back again. School board part two, right? We're talking about school
School
board part
board
two.
part two.
School board
Yep.
part two. But before we talk into the school board part two, there was something you sent me today with a DeSantis bill that was signed.
Oh, he signed a whole bunch of them.
He did sign a whole bunch, but there was one.
Yeah, he was on a bill roll.
Yeah, I really hate it here. I really hate it here, but HB 21285, and it has to do with Florida. What is it? Florida State Guard.
Oh, that's a state guard one. Yeah.
Yeah. What was that about? What's
Well, so apparently after the natural disasters, and we're gonna try to get one of the people who, like, one of those state reps that was part of the legislative session to come and talk to us, hopefully sometime next week. She's looking at her calendar to see what day she's available. I don't want to say who it is until I know for sure she's coming, right? Yep. So, but it is a she so far. But maybe if one of the guys want to come, they can come too, right?
You can find one.
Yeah, so she'll come and talk about it. But this is a bill that basically he initially got it as a result of the natural disasters that we had, right? Mm-hmm. So we had some natural disasters. Most states have national guards, like a state national guard or something like that. And yep. So he originally got them to give him $2 million to assist, with dealing with the results of a natural disaster, whether that's come to help with traffic, debris, keep people safe, protect people's property from looting, whatever it is. So he was given some money to do that. But because this man has a supermajority, he basically expanded that. It's the Florida State Guard or something like that is called. He got a budget of, I thought it was only $103 million, but it turns out it's about $117 million. He gets to appoint anywhere from 400 to 1,500 armed individuals to be part of this guard. And he does not have to disclose to the public or anybody who they are, right? So he gets to personally put these 4 up to 1,500 people on pretty much, which is a state militia is what it's going to be. But he's getting to do that. And that goes into effect July the 1st, right in time for hurricane season, right in time for him to abuse his power as he's continuing to do. And so that's kind of where we are. That's what he's doing.
Did he have an opportunity to sign a bill that would allow him to continue to be governor and run for office at the same time?
Oh, yeah, he did that too. Too. And he did a whole bunch of stuff with the schools. He did one that basically said, like, whatever the teacher's version of what happened in that classroom is what happened in that classroom. I was like, we doing this? Yes, he's doing that too. So and then also I know, like, the teachers union, the Florida the teachers union, they basically already sued him. They were like one of the first one to file the lawsuits because he basically passed legislation also that says that teachers' dues cannot be automatically taken out of their salary, right? So that people would have to, he said all union dues except for, of course, police, fire, and those type of folks, right? But everybody else, their union dues can't automatically come out of their salary. So the teachers education, the teachers union is basically suing him to say, like, what are you talking about, right? Like, you can't do that. So he's doing he just messing with some of everybody. Good evening, Commissioner Smith. How are you?
Commissioner, nice to see you.
I got a little beef with y'all. Y'all didn't invite me to go see Shaba, but that's okay. I wanted to see Shaba too.
I love me some Shaba ranks.
I didn't get invited to see Shaba. I wanted to see Shaba too.
Yeah, we if you're gonna be in town, we got to go too. Shoot,
yes, I wanted to see Shaba.
we love us some Shaba ranks, honey.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, I want to see Shaba.
Memories, honey, memories.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so just so you all need to pay attention, and I'm glad that Sandra was able to give you a few of because there's a slew of them that he signed. It's a slew, but she's giving you some highlights or whatever.
Lowlights is what I call them.
Lowlights, yeah. You can find all that information on Florida. What was it again?
FloridaChannel.org.
Florida.
And believe it or not, so I went on the site to look for information on SB 1718. That's DeSantis's effort to become the federal government, right? So he wants to be able to implement immigration policies. He's dealing with e-verification. He's gonna punish people if they're transporting an undocumented immigrant into the state. He's also, the other thing that he's doing is that there's sometimes where an undocumented immigrant cannot get their driver's license in the state of Florida, but there are other states that are more open and understanding, and they allow those individuals to get driver's license. So he's saying that he's no longer going to recognize those driver's license that come from out of states that an undocumented immigrant has. And I'm like, you do that? We have like full faith and credit laws that if something comes out of another for the most part, if a document that's issued by a governmental agency is provided to an individual, the next state is supposed to recognize that. So, like, what we doing?
Well,
right?
One of the questions
I asked you, constitutional stuff that's going on with this here, man.
And one of the questions I asked you, because I wanted to be kind of very clear, I asked you, is immigration a federal law?
It's federal.
State law, and you said it was federal.
It's federal.
And there was another one that he signed in that really kind of holds colleges hostage. And I asked if that.
He's getting rid of. He's like, no state can have diversity, equity, and inclusion, so they can't do that. So he's done that SB 1718, the immigration one that I was talking about. He's doing a couple of things in that, right? One of the other things he's done, he's gotten the legislators to allocate $12 million to him in order for him to fly undocumented folks to other states, right? So they put that in the budget.
Floridians, your tax money. Okay?
Yeah,
just so you know,
for that. 117 million for his militia. One of the other things he's doing too is like, if a hospital accept Medicaid, right? If a hospital accept Medicaid, they have to get the immigration status of the people who come in. And they have to let the state know how many undocumented folks they've served at their hospital, right? And the thing is, like, so what, we just gonna let people die because they don't have no status? Like that? What is that, right? So that's part of that. And then he has some like, and then people have concerns about what he's doing, particularly with the undocumented. And the concerns are that it's going to impact agriculture and construction. It's going to impact agriculture and construction.
There's a bunch of stuff on social media where people are saying, well, who is going to do all the agriculture work? Who's going to be on these roofs, redoing the roofs? Who is going to be doing all these construction work? Because people are saying they're not doing it. So my question becomes, does he understand?
But a lot of people who are saying they're not doing it, they're the main ones that's supporting him, making him think it's okay for him to, in fact, do this.
And that's my point. My point is, no one looks at the consequences of their actions, or especially with the Florida state legislator. Are we looking at what the trickle down effect looks like? Are we kind of taking that?
You should have paid attention to Arizona, because Arizona did that, and people were dipping. Those farmers were like throwing away crop because they couldn't get anybody to harvest. And people were like, well, what happened to the lawn man? People grass growing this high, So, that's not to say that all documenters, that's the only category of work that they do, but they are a major force in those industries, and there will definitely be an impact. I remember when one of the hurricanes, it was in 17, so it might have been like Irma, Rita, one of those, right? I'm not sure. Whatever the one was that was in either 2017 or 2018. And there was a lot of wind and a lot of trees came down, right? And I remember, like, I live out west, and typically if we have that, like, the next day or like within a couple of days, our streets are back clear, all the debris is off the ground or whatever, right? But this was right after Trump. When I tell you it took the city about a month and a half to clear all of that debris, it took them a month and a half to do that. And I had never seen it before. Those branches were dry, brown, just right there waiting to get picked up. It took that long. And I'm thinking it was 17, but it could have been 18, but it was right after 45 was elected, and people got all nervous and went on, It took them about 6 weeks to pick that stuff up, and usually our streets are clear like in 2 days.
And I remember, I think it was 18, only because Plantation was having a lot of issues because they had a lot of debris, where people weren't even able to get out of their homes or get to other places, and they were waiting several days to get cleanup. So we say all this to say 2024 is around the corner. If you haven't had an opportunity to request your mail-in ballot, please do so ASAP. If you haven't, check your voting status. Make sure you create a plan, people. Create a plan with your group of network of people on how you guys are going to get vans together so you can go out and vote in droves. There is no reason whatsoever for you to stay home and not vote. As bad as it is, this is the time that you pull in, dig in, and find the strength to come out and get everybody to come out there and vote. Because I'm telling you right now, no excuse. I don't want to hear anybody saying I'm not going to vote. It's not going to make a difference.
Not voting is not an option.
Not voting is not an option. It is not an option. So it's imperative that we all create a plan now, today, tomorrow, yesterday, on how we're going to get everybody down to the polls and make sure we vote. Because in Tennessee, I think, is it Tennessee? I think Tennessee, their state legislature, they're changing their abortion ban from 20 weeks now down to 6 weeks. And then people were in the house was like, vote them out. This is what that means. These people can't come in and make decisions and not deal with the constituents. That's not what the constituents want. They're coming in doing whatever they want. And what is the constituents' response is? Vote them out. We need to be in droves in 2024, making sure that they understand you don't get to keep your job if you're not doing what the will of the people is. Yep.
Facts on facts. And so we should have actually started out the show with this special shout out to Duval County, right?
Oh, yeah.
Duval County flipped some seats yesterday. They have a Democratic mayor, they have a Democratic property appraiser, a couple other seats, and Duval wasn't playing
yesterday. You better come with it, Duval.
Yes, Duval did that, and they really inspired like a lot of Democrats through across the state for the fact that they were able to do that. So that's like Florida, we could do this, right?
The Democratic mayor was like, and let me tell you something, the Republicans thought they had that on lock.
Yeah, they did.
They thought
the guy made some mistakes. He went after BLM and put out some videos that was like not so good. And he actually had 4 times as much money as Ms. Deegan, Mayor Deegan, or Mayor-elect Deegan, and I spoke to one of my friends who live in Duval, and she said that lady was everywhere. She was like, she absolutely outworked her opponent. She was at every event. She went to see people. And then the other thing too is she does have some name recognition. So we also need to make sure, like when we do candidate selection, we do pick people that has name recognition, but good folks, right? Like really good folks also have name recognition, because she's like a 3-time breast cancer survivor, and she has this thing called like the Donnas or something like that, where she does a lot of breast cancer work, has a nonprofit that deals with that, and she was an anchor on the news for like over 20 years. So she did have that. And Penny Morgan, also the one who won for the property appraiser, is also a person that had name recognition, and Duval was also in media ahead of time. But at the end of the day, those women put in that work, and that's what you got. You put in the work. I was told she went everywhere. There was no place too small, no place too big. She went everywhere and was very, very visible. Whereas the other person, relied on the fact that they had a whole bunch of money and some endorsements, and that wasn't enough.
You need to pay attention to that. You need to pay attention to those candidates that think because they have enough money, they don't need to be where you are. Because at the end of the day, they need to be where you are. You're the people. We are the people that give them their marching orders, right? They're supposed to do what for the betterment of the community. So if they don't feel that you are important enough to come and see, that's your answer, in my opinion. That's your answer.
Especially during an election. I mean, they should come see you all the time anyway. But if you're in a race and you want my vote and you still can't come talk to me,
if you can't come see me, then you don't want my vote. That's
yeah.
Listen,
don't take it for granted.
You got to engage. You have to engage. So shout out to Duval County.
Shout out Duval County. Y'all did that for real, right? They did that.
We hope all the other 66 counties take a stock of what Duval is doing.
Yep.
If you're a Democrat in the 66 counties, pay attention. Look at that blue book. If you got to reach out to Mayor-elect Deegan to find out what she did, you may want to do that too. So
holla at her. And the other thing too is like, even though some of the counties are red, there's still blue people. There's still some blue folks in those counties. And what needs to happen is that the Florida Democratic Party needs to go to every single county, because it's a numbers game. You need every single number, because we can't always rely on Broward County to have a 90% Democratic voter turnout to carry the entire state. Go into Hendry, go into like Moorhaven, go into these other little small areas and get folks, to vote, go into Glades County, go into Hendry, go out west and get the blue folks that are there, get them engaged and get them to come out and vote. And all those numbers will add up to what we need. Okay. A drop from the faucet can fill a bucket, so we need to, we need to do that. And but there was one other bill that I want to talk about too. The governor also signed something that's called SB 264, and this is basically saying that Chinese nationals cannot buy land in the United States that's next to any military bases, and not only that, on other places of concern, which is like critical infrastructure. They cannot buy anything within 10 miles of a military base and any critical infrastructure. And it's not only China, right? Because they also have other countries of concern. It's Russia's one, North Korea, Venezuela, Syria, Iran, and Cuba is on this list of countries. So check this out. Cannot buy land.
So check this out. You see how he created that bill so there's some smoke screen in the front, right? Then he digs in by listing these, and that's the thing that people need to understand. I know that there's a lot of Hispanic Republicans and all that other stuff that they really like, that's their party, and that's okay. But you all need to understand that party that claims to be of family values, strong on crime and all that other stuff or whatever, you got to sift through that. You got to sift through that to see exactly when people tell you who they are, you need to believe them. He signed a bill basically starting off with the Chinese, the Asian people, and then he worked his way down to Venezuela, Cuba, Russia. I mean, like, if you look at the bill,
Iran. And then he also talks about he also is talking about how they cannot buy like farmland, and there's also punishment for anyone who sells the farmland to any of these foreign nationals, right? This is how they're phrasing it. Messaging, right? Because they're like the kings and queens of messaging, right? So their messaging is, the reason why they don't want to do that is because it can cause like food scarcity. Right? There's like food, people don't think about their security, national security when you think of food, but it is an issue. And then what they can do, if they sell the land to these individuals, they can affect the food supply and hold food hostage. And then America, and then he's like, what if you can't get food for a week? What if you can't get food for 2 weeks?
For me, it's the fear mongering for me. Their messaging always has a level and lace within fear, and that really drives home to their base. Because when you went to the governor debate, you remember you said you went to the governor debate, you were there, you kind of
yes
or whatever. And you saw the reaction of the governor's base versus those who were Charlie Crist's base. Yeah. These people run on fear. It's the fear mongering for them. For him to say food scarcity, and for him to say, well, fear, they don't have.
You sold your farm to somebody from China. Now there ain't gonna be no food nowhere in the whole of America for you to get. For 1 week, 2 weeks, no food nowhere.
Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see how?
Do you see what I'm saying? What we're saying?
That is how detrimental that's traumatic.
Yeah,
that is traumatic when you lace that like that.
Mm-hmm. Come on. So that's how they phrasing that. And then the last one I wanted to talk about, even though we're going to talk a little school board, we got about 10 minutes to do that. So is SB 846. He basically also, this is with public universities, colleges and universities. They cannot accept grant money from any of these foreign countries of concern, right? Because if they do, they can lose.
He's basically trying to police everything, everybody, every aspect, and he's doing all of that, ladies and gentlemen, except for the job he's supposed to be doing.
Right, like bringing down my insurance rate.
My insurance is killing me. And now insurance companies, because he signed into law, have more power than the people who are paying the insurance company.
Yeah, because he let them do whatever they want.
He's doing everything else except for what his job is supposed to be. His job is to protect the people of Florida, to make sure that we're not taken advantage of, to make sure that we're being done right by corporate interests, but make sure that we get what we need. We live in a state that have hurricanes. We live in a state that we can flood easily. We live in a state that we can have heat stroke. I mean, we have all these issues, and this man is not focusing on that.
Someone told me
it's all performative, people, because this man wants to run for president. So if he can show you what he's doing in his state, right, then the majority will look at it and say, "Oh, okay, this is what we're looking for."
No, they ain't looking for that though. That's the mistake he's making. People ain't looking for that. Most of the people ain't looking for that. His calculations are off in terms of like that's what people are looking for.
Whew. I can't.
Because people are like, why you live in Florida? Before, when you used to live in Florida, they'd be like, oh my God, you live in Florida. They'd be like, you live in Florida? Oh my God, I feel so sorry for you. You live in Florida. That's what happens when you tell people you live in Florida now. They're feeling sorry for you because you live in Florida.
You have the NAACP basically saying travel ban. Don't even come over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got the NAACP saying don't even travel to Florida, that this is not for you. If you are a black person, that state is not for you.
That ain't even about being black. This state ain't. You saw he said the Chileans, the Venezuelans, the Syrians, North Koreans, all of that. Like
a whole list of countries. He's basically saying y'all can't come in here and do nothing. Y'all can't buy nothing. Y'all can't create nothing. Y'all can't do nothing but come in here and just pass.
And I wonder what the Cubans in Miami gonna say, because y'all on that list. Y'all are part of the foreign countries of concern.
I don't know how Cuba. I'm surprised that Cuba was on the list. To be quite honest with you,
Cuba's on the list of those foreign countries of concern.
So
they can't buy stuff either.
Cubans, this is on you.
What can't sell to them? So I wonder what they're gonna do. What y'all gonna do?
I need to know what the Cuban community. What's the response from the Cuban community? The Cuban community, they don't put you on the whole list.
You're on the list.
What's your response? Don't worry, we'll wait. We'll wait to find out what your response is.
What y'all gonna do? Because this is.
I need that y'all.
There's no limits to this man. There's no limits.
And getting yourselves together. So I suggest you assemble and get Cubans unite, okay? Because y'all on a list that y'all can't buy nothing. Just saying. What y'all gonna do? Well,
it's not that they can't buy anything. They just cannot buy things which are within 10 miles of a military base or a critical infrastructure, right? But there's another thing that you can't buy with it. There's some. It was also about like farmland, because they can cause
backup counselor. What
crisis?
Backup counselor. So critical infrastructure. Is there a definition for that, counselor?
It's critical infrastructure. Whatever he determines to be critical infrastructure.
Well, that's my point. So there's no definition with the critical infrastructure.
Well, critical infrastructure is whatever infrastructure is deemed to be critical.
Okay. All right. I think the people who watch
about the water supply and all that stuff, like them people gonna go put stuff in the water.
I think those who are watching it, as myself, we're curious to understand what critical infrastructure means. Because to me, that's just like a fancy word, and it's just so broad. So I'd like to know if there's like some specificity to this critical infrastructure. Counselor, I'm asking you, counselor. Is the word?
I don't know. I'm the messenger today.
All right. Okay. All right. So moving right along. So just so you know, 2024 around the corner. Develop a plan. Get your mail-in ballots. Please check your voting status. Make sure you on top of that. Make sure we develop a plan that we getting people on buses, bikes, scooters. We got a whole bunch of transportation now to take us to and from. We need to make sure we are for the week of early voting. We hit early voting really quick. Like we're gonna hit early voting every day, and just make sure that you're ready to vote because we in dire straits in the state. Okay,
it's rough. It's absolutely rough. It's
So the school board had an emergency. Was it an emergency meeting? I can't remember what kind of meeting.
I know they said they had like apparently it's supposed to be a board meeting every Tuesday this month. So it might have been a regular board meeting.
Might have been a regular board meeting, but that board meeting was discussing the superintendent job description. It was discussing the organizational chart that Dr. Smiley was trying to make changes for. So the organizational chart did go through. However, there were some job descriptions that were pulled and removed or was voted upon with the board to keep the same. So they had like a chief for fire. They had there was two distinct positions that fell under the fire chief, or one had to answer to the other. Bottom line is they didn't change that because they tried to change it. One of the big things was Miss Marte, who was named in the grand jury report. And she's still working at the district. I mean, because the people that was named in the grand jury report, all of them are basically gone except for her. So I'm just surprised she's still here. But anyway, I digress. She was named in the grand jury report. And now what happened was there was.
Did she just get her contract renewed too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She did get her contract renewed. So, and I think her position has changed a little bit. They tweaked it just a tad. And so what happened was, I guess the discussion with Miss Marte, and I believe there's another, I forgot her name, I forgot the other days. She's another like superintendent. Then you had Dr. Wanza, and then the acting superintendent. All of them got together, looked over these jobs with chiefs, directors, task assigned, whatever, for this org chart. So they presented something to the board, and the board basically ripped it apart. They were like, so these two positions need to be by themselves, and they need to stay that way. And what was the theme was they were all going to be reporting to this Miss Marte lady. Yeah, they were all like I think the top executive positions were supposed to be reporting to her. Mm. So the question came was, well, don't you think that's a lot of work on you since you already got all this you're doing? You these people got to report to you too, like whatever. Oh, well, I've done it. You know, her response was, I've done it for a while and I know how to juggle it. And I think Dr. Smiley was going to change some tasks to alleviate and all that other stuff. The board members was like, yeah, no. So that's not what we're going to do. We're going to approve this org chart, but we're going to approve it the way those positions are now. We're not changing positions. We're not changing descriptions because Natalie Lynch-Walsh, Dr. Lynch-Walsh came and said, these positions are being changed for specific people in the district. And many of those people are not qualified. So if you have an opportunity, go on the school board website. The video for that meeting, I think it's like 3 hours and
and hopefully it works because I actually tried to watch it and it was not working today. But Beacon TV also has that video too. So you go into their archive section and you can check.
Listen to the conversation. It's not, to be quite honest, it's not really that boring like they normally are because they're talking about key positions. And it's really important that you know who these people are because they're making ginormous decisions where our kids are concerned in terms of safety. So suffice it to say, they agreed with some of the changes in the org chart. However, they maintain those positions to where they're supposed to be.
So maybe the 23-24 school year will actually be about the business of students. Like, because I mean, it's only 3 more weeks of school. So
I hope it is.
About to help. Who about to help this year? I don't know.
I don't know about you, but every time I hear the school board meeting, I have yet to hear anything about the kids. So like I don't know. These clear backpacks. I don't know.
Well, I think they're having a whole town hall on it in June. I'm like, they don't know that they are not ready for that smoke. They're tripping on that one, but I'm happy they doing it, but they ain't ready for that smoke.
But why wasn't that on the onset? Why are we going backwards? First you said this is what's going to First, they said this is what's going to happen in 2023, 2024.
Oh no, all their voicemails were full and people were calling their house. That's why they having that meeting. So now they can publicly say, we tried. You see, we were trying to do it, and this is what the people wanted. So if something happened, they could blame the people. Say, listen, we tried to get y'all clear backpacks to make sure that these kids ain't bring no weapons to school. And then y'all, we had this whole town hall. You guys all voiced your opinions, and they gonna have it on the record. So like if some stuff pop off, they can be like, it ain't us, because we tried to get y'all to have clear backpacks so we can see what's in those bags. That's all that is.
Listen, the safety thing, I know it's a big undertaking, and I feel like no matter what you do, if something's gonna happen, something's gonna happen. Like that's my belief.
Mm-hmm.
However, these because I was not approached, but Travis Scott, somebody who worked for the Sun Sentinel or used to work for the Sun Sentinel, whatever. He basically saying all these closed door meetings that they're having are illegal because they're not sunshined or whatever the case is. I don't know. What I do know is they kept on talking. Well, the board members, and new and old, kept on talking about transparency. But there's no transparency. You're having a slew of backdoor conversations, and then you're basically saying, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. That's not transparency. Transparency is having an open door meeting, making sure everybody has an input. People who show up, people who don't show up, it's okay, but you're having it outside. But you want to do that on the back end. After people done lost their mind, when you sent out a whole email, and the way they sent it out, Sandra, be honest, I've never gotten so much information and been so in the know until they did the Clear Backpack initiative. I didn't. They sent me a phone call. They sent me an email. They sent me a text message.
They sent you pictures of what the clear backpacks should look like.
Ma'am.
I mean, it was clear duffel bag. I was like, dang, I didn't even know they made all them clear bags. they got clear duffel bags.
All that information was sent out so quickly, and they just inundated us with that.
Yeah, and then but they got inundated too. I'm telling you, that meeting ain't gonna go the way they think it's going. That meeting is not going to go the way those school board members think that meeting is going to go. I'm telling you, because I just posted, and people were like calling me, texting me, saying, listen, they're like, I'm going to be there front and center. That meeting is not going to be what they think it's going to be.
I'm telling you, the minute they sent that email out and said, this is what we're doing, I had text messages, phone calls. People were like, what's what we doing? I said, well, call your board member. Send your board member some emails.
And they probably got calls. They voicemail full.
They didn't want that Broward County smoke. That
they don't want. So they thought they did. They don't, and they're having this meeting because I guess they're gonna act like, well, we're getting input now. They don't want, man. Listen, y'all, they ain't ready. We just telling y'all, board members, get ready. It's gonna be hot in that room.
I feel like they were better off. You're better off giving the information, giving the information to the people.
Carlos like, I'm gonna be there with my clear purse. I got a clear purse too because I go to sporting events. I have a couple of different size clear purses.
I got a clear purse too. I purposely got a clear purse because when you
go to have logos though, I got clear like Miami Heat, like that kind of stuff. I have logos on my clear purse,
but here's the thing. You know what the funny part? Not the funny part. You know what the interesting part about these clear backpacks? This is only to the kids. This has nothing to do with visitors. It has nothing to do with parents. It has nothing to do with volunteers. It has nothing to do with workers. So we just worried that the kids are the problem. So none of the adults that come in and frolic through the school, they don't need to wear a clear backpack.
Listen, man.
What y'all doing?
But there was one thing that I thought out of this, and then we'll wrap up. Yeah. I was thinking was that how they would say, well, the young ladies can have like their toiletries and and this is mainly about their stuff during their menstrual cycle that they can have in color, like in something that's not clear, right? And I was like, well, why should I was thinking about that? I was like, but a young lady shouldn't be ashamed of the fact that, you know, that's something that naturally happens to her body, right? You know, because they're like, oh no, but the girls, and I'm like, that needs to be normalized, that yes, this happens to women every month. You know what I mean? These are the things that we have to do as a result, as a consequence of it. So there should be no shame. There should be no shame associated with the fact that a young woman is going through what women go through every day. Once you hit that age, that's some real stuff right there. And we need to stop making young women feel embarrassed about the fact that it's that time of the month for them. You know what I mean? So yes, if you don't want to have it in a clear bag, you know, in a clear pouch, I understand that. But at the same time, we need to tell them, like, no, put that thing right there in that back, on the side of that bag, tampons, pad, whatever you use, and put it right there. You know, there should be no shame or stigma attached to something that's natural. That's right? Natural. So I really do think we need to normalize that, like, way more.
I totally agree. I totally agree with that. And the other aspect too is the ESC students. You have ESC students, elementary, middle, and high school, that carry certain things in their bags. Yeah. And that's personal.
My daughter was in an ESC class, and there were students in her class that still wore diapers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now they want
to see the pull-ups.
And that's my point. My point is, did we think this through before we just decided we were just going to implement it? We just go ahead. We're going to implement everything. We didn't think this through. Nobody talked to ESC. Nobody talked to all those entities or whatever. And according to the chair, she said, "Well, stakeholders were part of the conversation." Well, what stakeholders were part of the conversation? What stakeholders? And I personally asked Jeff Holness, Dr. Holness, can you tell me what stakeholder, because I'm assuming you were part of the conversation because you're a board member. Can you tell me who was part of the stakeholders? He had his secretary call me back to tell me, oh, the stakeholder, she just repeated what the chair said. I said, but that's not what I asked you. I said, which stakeholders are we talking about? What committees are we talking about or whatever? Oh, I have to go back and get that information for you. Ask me if she called me back and told me where she got if she got the information or not. I'm still waiting. I'd just like to know what stakeholders we talking about. That's all I want to know. Once I know what stakeholders, we lost Sandra. We'll see if she can come back in real quick, and then we'll say our goodbyes. But anyway, I digress. I don't want to keep beating a dead horse. But if you are able to go to any of those board meetings, the next several Tuesdays, I think there's one coming up on the 23rd. I think that's a board workshop. Make sure that you're able to. You can do public comments. You can also be there and voice your opinion. And public comments, if you can't make it, obviously you can type your public comment, and then that is put into the record. But you got to make sure you put your name, your address, and your district. So I don't know. Oh, there she is. She's coming back.
Yeah, I had internet issues. I'm so sorry. I'm glad. I know you was holding it down. I was just telling them that they could do, they can come and make public comments, make it online. We have the next several Tuesdays that they're having meetings. Just get involved, y'all, because make those public comments because those stay part of the record forever. So they need to so they can't be like, well, we didn't know what people were thinking. Yes, we telling you this is what we thinking.
So make sure if you don't get, it's June 12th is the town hall meeting. I believe is in Plantation High School. It's gonna be at, I want to say 5:30. I say get there by 5:30 if it's gonna be at 6.
Get there early because it's gonna be. I heard it's gonna be.
Carla said June 13th is supposed to be an official vote for clear backpacks.
Okay.
We'll see how that goes, sis. I don't know if that's gonna go over well, but
I have it. So it's Monday, June the 12th, Plantation High School, 6901 Northwest 16th Street, Plantation, Florida 33313. The doors open at 5:30 and the meeting starts promptly at 6 p.m.
I say flood Plantation High School like nobody's business.
And they called it School Safety Town Hall Clear Backpack Requirements for the 23-24 school year. So they basically saying that it's a meeting for them to tell y'all what kind of backpacks the kids are supposed to have. It's not really about input. That's why I'm telling you that meeting ain't about to go the way the board thinks it's going to go. Because I think they think that it's going to be an informational session for them to let parents know what kind of backpacks, you got to have. And they probably even going to tell you where you can buy them. They may have some vendors in mind.
Broward County Public Schools, I don't know if I don't know if you want to do that. I don't know if you want to do that. I can tell you what I'm not gonna do.
Because it's called the clear backpack requirement for the next year.
Well, I'm gonna tell you,
they about to educate y'all on what kind y'all need to get and where y'all about to get them from.
Carla said 4 board members have said on record they're voting yes, so let's see how that goes.
Okay.
What 4 board members, Carla?
Tell us.
Tell us. Lace the names, child, so the people could see, so the people could know what board members we talking about.
So we can see how they're gonna change their mind. And I also heard, so she's gonna let us know. The other thing I heard too is that they've already started getting like the board members have already started reaching out to folks that they want to be part of the superintendent interview process, right? Because I think the board members get to select, I don't know how many folks, I don't know if it's 2 or 3 or whatever, they get to select some folks to be part of the process of interviewing and asking questions of whoever the final superintendent candidates are. And I know that some of the board members have reached out to folks.
Carla, come in with the names. She said Zeman, Fogan-Holy, Alston, and Hickson. Thank you, Carla. Thank you so much.
That they're going to vote for the clear backpacks? Like they're going to say yes to it?
Vote yes. They're voting yes. That's what she said. She said 4 board members have said on record they are voting yes. So let's see how this goes.
All right. They're going to vote yes.
Those are 4 board members that said that. Well, thank you, Carla, for the information.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Appreciate it. So back to what you were saying. Well, I hope the board members make the right decision on who they pick. I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know who they're gonna pick from.
Did they tell? Okay, because did they say who? Oh, well, they just closed it, so they would not have said who the 6th is. I think the next meeting on the 23rd is gonna be, because the people they've notified them to do their videos, and I guess on the 23rd is when all of that's gonna happen. So
on the 23rd, there's a workshop. I'll be at the workshop because I have to present my report response for the diversity committee. I will get that information so we can talk about it, not next week, but the week after. And we can kind of like discuss a little bit what that looks like. I think on the 3rd, we can talk about it on the 30th. We can talk about
30th, yeah. Give us some time to process and let it marinate.
We need to marinate it. All right, guys.
All right.
Well, thank you, Carla, for the information, sis. We appreciate you. She said vote yes. Thank you all for the ones who came on. We appreciate y'all coming on. We're trying to bring our times down so you guys can get the nuggets and go and be like ready to deal with us next week.
And we're trying to clip the videos too to give you like specific parts of what we talked about.
Awesome job doing that. She clipping them, putting them on social media, girl. Yes,
I'm trying.
It looks amazing. So we'll see y'all. We won't be seeing you next week, but we'll see you on the 30th.
There will be a show next week. It's a matter of whether or not it's gonna be a record. It might be a recorded show, but it may be new content. We're trying to get someone to do an interview with us that we're going to put on. It'll be most likely it'll be new content next week. If not, we will have a show next week, but it may be pre-recorded, but we're working on new content.
We are. All right. So we'll see y'all next week. We appreciate you. Make sure you keep your ears and eyes open. Look at these candidates that are coming out 2024 around the corner. Get on that website to check your voting status. Make sure you get your vote by mail. Jump on that today. I'm gonna keep drilling that into y'all until it's time for us to vote. So we got to go out there in droves. Thank you, Commissioner Smith. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
And we'll see y'all.
And yes, we like reggae music.
We sure do. I love me some Shabba Ranks. Okay, listen. Anything will make me. I'm about it. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next week.